What's up, everybody? I'm Ryan Thomas. Welcome to the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. I'm your host. I've taken a few weeks off from the podcast. Busy week. My brother got married this weekend. Very exciting stuff. So now on this Monday afternoon, a sunny December 5th in Western New York, I am bringing you the latest edition of the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. Obviously, yesterday, the Buffalo Bills took on the Oakland Raiders in a Week 13 battle. The Bills going into the matchup at 7-5, the Raiders 9-2. The Bills, with a 24-9 lead, lost 38-24. 29 unanswered points by the Oakland Raiders, leading the Raiders to their 10th win of the season at 10-2. A force to be reckoned with in the AFC. Their offense is firing on all cylinders, obviously, and their pass rush on the defensive side of the ball from Khalil Mack has been a force for the majority of the season as well. So, a lot to take in. Obviously, that is a bad example to show to your fans that you are a playoff team. Having a lead in a game like that, going from 24-9 to 38-24 versus a team that is, one of the better teams this season in the league, that was a statement game for the Bills, and they blew it. They blew it very bad on the defensive side of the ball. They blew it very bad on the offensive side of the ball. And it's been more than obvious over the last 2 years, this season and last season, that I have been a real harsh critic of Tyrod Taylor, and yesterday showed why. In the opportunistic moments of the game that we needed to cash in on to continue to win the game, to continue to buy time in the game, eke out the clock, which I'll get to that a little bit later in another way. Tyrod did not perform. He did not perform. No matter how, if we couldn't win a game, and I'm going to put it this way, if we couldn't win a game 24-9 with Tyrod Taylor as our quarterback, if we couldn't sustain that lead with Tyrod Taylor as our quarterback, how are we supposed to think as Bills fans, or how is anyone supposed to think as a Bills fan that Tyrod Taylor is the answer at the quarterback position for the Buffalo Bills? It is a team game. It does take two sides of the ball to win. Their defense obviously has some real problems, especially in the secondary. But for us to have a 24-9 lead in a game and to blow it that bad, where we didn't put even a field goal up on the board from that moment on, it's very, very bad. And I think it's time that we close the book on the season because they're not going to make the playoffs. They're 6-6 now. They have Pittsburgh this upcoming week. Pittsburgh's offense is just as high-powered as Oakland's is, if not more. I think Pittsburgh's offense potentially is one of the best in the NFL, the best in the NFL, with Big Ben, Le'Veon Bell, and Antonio Brown. That triplet is the best in the NFL when healthy, when they play up to their potential. They are a dominant force to be reckoned with. And we have that on the docket now. We have to go to we have to play Pittsburgh. And I'm not excited. I'm actually glad that I missed, I caught bits and pieces of the game that I taped yesterday, of yesterday's game with the Raiders, but I'm actually glad I'm going to miss this Steelers game because really there's no reason to watch it. There's no intrigue to watch it. I'd watch it if I wasn't working or if I was available, but there's no intrigue to watch these games. And it's this way every single year, Week 10, Week 11, Week 12, Week 13, every single season since 1999, practically, Bills fans are tuned out at this point in the season. We're done. We're tired of the excuses. The fact that they have yet to find a quarterback after this long, after this many top 15 draft choices that they've had, after this many dismal seasons, teams have found quarterbacks on accident more than the Buffalo Bills have on purpose. That's the territory that we are in right now as Buffalo Bills fans, as the Bills Mafia knows it very well. Russell Wilson was a guy that was drafted in the 3rd round. Dak Prescott was a guy that was drafted in the 4th round. The guy that's terrorized us for the last 16, feels like an eternity. Tom Brady was drafted in the 6th round. More often than not, the quarterbacks that get drafted in the 1st round don't pan out. And yet we have wasted picks on quarterbacks in the 1st round. J.P. Lossman, E.J. Manuel. Our scouting department, whoever is running this from the top down, I've been calling for Doug Whaley's head for the last, 2-3 years. I don't think Doug Whaley is a good GM. I think there's plenty more candidates out there that are more qualified than what he has done. The E.J. Manuel pick, the fact that he picked E.J. Manuel in the 1st round and where E.J. Manuel is at, yes, there are circumstances as to why E.J. Manuel is where he is as a player that aren't necessarily his fault, but E.J. Manuel going into that draft was on no one's radar except apparently the Buffalo Bills' radar as a 1st-round draft choice. That is a lack of scouting. The choice, the decision to draft Sammy Watkins in a trade to move up from 9th overall to 4th overall and pass on the before-mentioned Khalil Mack, which was a position of need, which was a guy that went to the University of Buffalo, and instead they went with Sammy Watkins, which I love Sammy Watkins. He's a great guy, great for this city, great for the Buffalo Bills. He fits in here really well, but that was a big trade, and really they haven't reaped the reward from it yet. Sammy Watkins has yet to play a full season in the NFL. He's had injuries that have plagued his career so far. This year to his foot, last year I think it was his knee, just all across the board. Injuries, hamstring, shoulder, just all across the board. It's real easy to say, as I alluded to in the beginning, 24 unanswered or 29 unanswered points. It's real easy to call on Rex Ryan and say, what went wrong? Why did this happen? How did this happen? But the personnel on the Bills is very, very weak, especially in the secondary. It was weak going into this season, and it's even weaker now that there's the injury to Aaron Williams, which his career is probably over, unfortunately, with the hit that was laid on him by Jarvis Landry. Inexplicable hit that was laid on him by Jarvis Landry in the Miami game in Miami. Corey Graham is long in the tooth. Their safeties are not safeties. The only true safety that they have is James Adahedebo, who they had signed 2 weeks ago. So there are some real holes on this defense. Reggie Ragland, obviously going down before the season started. Their depth is so bad, and that was the reason why I was such a harsh critic of this Tyrod deal, albeit that they can get out of this deal every single year of this contract. They can get out of it. It's great. That's fine. But for this season, they paid Tyrod $6 million more than they needed to. They basically took $6 million and flushed it down the toilet when they needed every penny that they could use on providing this roster more depth. Had there been an injury to a guy like Sammy Watkins, had there been an injury to a guy like Reggie Ragland, had there been an injury to a guy like Aaron Williams, these things plague teams over the course of a 16-game season. And that is what we have seen over the course of this season. Guys ask for more money, they beg for more money, and then they put out a performance like Stephon Gilmore has from week 1 to week 13. There should be zero, and I'm going to say this as clear as possible, zero chance that Stephon Gilmore remains a Buffalo Bill. He is so bad that I honestly never want to see him in a Buffalo Bills uniform again. I don't care if he goes to another team and plays well. For a guy to ask the Buffalo Bills to pay him more money as he's going into the last year of his rookie contract, and before his first rookie contract is even expired, he asks for more money, and then they don't give it to him because he's still under contract, and then he puts out this effort, and it honestly, it's shades of Mario Williams from what I've seen. Shades of Mario Williams, the fact that he doesn't even want to try to cover the guy that he's supposed to cover. He doesn't even want to try to help somebody on the back end. Ronald Darby has regressed massively over the course of one season. He looks like a completely different player. Went from great to just plain terrible, losing his job to a 6th-round rookie draft pick. A 6th-round rookie for this year, Kayvon Seymour, took Ronald Darby's job in spades during the last few weeks with the Buffalo Bills. This defense has serious holes, and I really think the only guy that can fix it is Rex Ryan. At least they do have a guy that has a pedigree in finding the right defensive players for his scheme. That's why he has had the year-in, year-out success as an NFL defensive coach with the Ravens and with the Jets that he had with limited players on the defensive side of the ball. Frankly, obviously, the first half, their defense played fantastic. 24-9 into the first half. The second half, they obviously collapsed, but the Raiders knew that they needed to score points. They stretched us out vertically, and they made us pay. We can't play vertically with offenses. The New York Jets beat us the same exact way in week 2. The Miami Dolphins beat us the same exact way week I'm not sure what week it was, but during this season. We can't play vertically with teams. We just can't. We cannot do it because we don't have the safeties. We can't do it because we don't have the corners. We can only pass rush. That's our defensive line is still intact. Marcel Darius coming back in spades that he has this year. He's been a huge difference maker in that 3-4 defense. And Jerry Hughes has been a big-time player. Shaq Lawson coming back from injury has been a big-time player. There is light at the end of the tunnel, but they will not go anywhere as long as they do not have a quarterback. And right now they do not have a quarterback 1, they don't have a quarterback 2, and they don't have a quarterback 3. All their quarterbacks are as good as garbage to me. They're all the same 3 quarterbacks that they have on their roster. You look at teams that have had success. If one guy goes down, the next guy comes in and he offers a different flavor to the offense. Perfect example, Tony Romo. Tony Romo, a pocket passer, West Coast offense type passer, guy that can spread the ball around, accurate, Brett Favre-like, gunslinger type guy. He goes down, the backup comes in, the backup's Dak Prescott, a guy that's mobile, a guy that can extend plays, a guy that can get a first down when it's 1st and 15 or 1st and 20, a guy that can throw the deep ball on a seam, just on a dime, right into the receiver's breadbasket over the shoulder. He offers different ability, and you need that on a team. You need to have your backup offer different ability than what your starter offers. Every one of these quarterbacks on the Buffalo Bills roster offers the same thing. Decent deep ball. Extends plays with their legs. And I would say Cardale Jones has the most arm strength, but that's really the only difference. Other than that, these guys all offer the same things. They can't throw over the middle of the field. They're not smart with the ball. They're not drive-for-drive guys that can go drive-for-drive with Tom Brady, that can go drive-for-drive with Ben Roethlisberger or Derek Carr. Those are the teams that we need to beat in order to get into the upper echelon of the National Football League. And as long as we have a quarterback that can't go drive-for-drive with the opposing quarterbacks, we will not make the playoffs. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. I tell that to everybody. We have had the worst front office management at scouting and assessing quarterbacks of any franchise besides the Cleveland Browns. Thank God the Cleveland Browns are as bad as they are, because Buffalo would be right there with them. They already are right there with them, but they would be at that Cleveland Browns factory of sadness, quoted by Brian Fold level, of being just a load of garbage. And frankly, as a Bills fan, I'm tired of it, and I know you guys are too. Take care.